There's something different about living in the country. The quiet, the air, it just feels different living outside of a big city. Honestly, at first, I wasn't sure if I'd even like it. But now, I've come to love it. Growing up in the Greater Toronto area nearly my entire life, a small house in the country was a distant dream, something relegated to retirement. The idea of moving out to the country was something that I never really thought about. It wasn't even really on my radar until my wife mentioned how much she would love to live out in the country.
I'd say my journey or my first thought for country living was after I first moved to Canada. But Daniel had gone to school like in Oshawa, and he was like, I'm not moving further than Oshawa, so like that was no longer an option. Around 2017, a friend of ours moved east, and we were like, maybe we could move that side.
It all started in 2020, just as the world began to panic. My landlord tried to raise the rent hundreds of dollars higher, and when we pushed back, he told us he needed the space for a migrating family member. So my wife and I had to move. Travel had just started to be restricted, so we knew that when he said that he had a family member coming into the country and he needed the space, that he was just trying to get rid of us.
But then there was a job opportunity in Belleville, and so we decided to like jump on that opportunity. As soon as we got to Belleville in May, about a week later, we were looking for a place in Toronto to move back because the job opportunity in Belleville was like a 1-year contract, but then we both got like permanent position in Toronto. So we had to like find a place to move back to a week later.
Finding rent during COVID was difficult to do in only 1 week. We ended up renting a room in Durham, but soon had to move again. During these major life shifts, we had mainly considered renting our next place. Then one day we decided to try and buy a house.
I think Daniel just got fed up and he's like, let's just go look for a house to buy.
We weren't sure if it would be possible, what we could afford, or where we could afford it. So we prayed about it and stepped out in faith. We were staying in Milton with my mother as we were continuing to look. We found an amazing realtor, Susan.
I don't know how we found her, but we were her first client. This was like a second job for her because she had retired. She had never sold a house before. We had never bought a house before. So we were just like, doing this together. She was so helpful and became a wonderful friend to us to this day.
She really went all out for us, was very, very caring about making sure we think about all the different aspects in buying our first home.
And I think like it just finally hit one day when the realtor was like, let's just put all our house search on one day. So she put it on a Sunday, I believe. And we just went that one day and just looked at everything. And the final house we saw that day was the one that we ended up buying.
We saw several homes and put in an offer on a small home out in the country in this little quaint town of less than 2,500 people. And so as we looked, we found a place out in the town of Madoc. We were so excited about purchasing our first home. The seller had tenants, so we gave them a few months to find somewhere to move while we stayed with family in Milton.
They were much older people, so they had a little bit more specific needs that they need met.
Because it was pandemic and things were difficult, we gave them a lot of time to find somewhere else.
So we purchased in August, but we didn't move in until around November. I think it was November 11, 2020 when we actually moved in.
Once the tenants moved out, we started implementing our plans for personalizing our new home. They had wood floors in here, a little bit of an older design. The tenants had a dog, and so there was a couple areas that needed to be fixed. We traveled 3.5 hours from Milton to Madoc. We would do renovations every weekend, usually coming up Friday. We would spend the Sabbath or Saturday. We would rest, and then we'd work Sunday, and then we'd head back to Toronto. We ripped out the floor, the entire kitchen, the carpet in both bedrooms, nearly the entire bathroom, changed out electrical outlets, and painted all the ceilings, walls, and more.
I think like that took almost about 5-6 months to do. And then we were also like purchasing stuff and bringing it here on the weekends, trying to like, fix up the place so we could eventually live in it.
Luckily, doing construction, I had a lot of the tools that I needed to do that. We did rent a few tools and buy a few things that we needed. The whole renovation process was pretty involved. The work was hard, but it was worth it. And after some time, the house started to take shape. It was a really cold Sabbath morning. My wife and I were still in our pajamas in the living room when we heard the hard knock at the door. Opened the door to our neighbor and her friend who were complaining about the noise.
She called us out to talk to us in the cold. She wouldn't come in. She was pretty much just screaming at us the whole time.
And they were saying that because of COVID restrictions, zoning restrictions, that we aren't supposed to be here, we don't live here, and that sort of thing. And the conversation got heated pretty fast. We knew that that was going to be problematic because the times we were making noise was during the day. We didn't get up super early in the morning, and we weren't doing it late at night either. But that was the beginning of quite a bit of back and forth with our neighbor.
But then I remember afterwards, like as soon as she left, another neighbor came by just to talk to us and like welcome us to the community and apologize for the neighbor's behavior and to let us know like, Madoc is a wonderful community and like sorry for that experience. And that kind of like helped us to feel a little bit more comfortable being in the space, because we were like starting to feel like maybe this wasn't such a good idea.
I was doing tile at the front of the house. I was ripping up the old tile, and she called the police on us to complain about the noise. The police came to the door, very kind gentleman, kind of looked around, saw what we were doing, complimented us on our work, and went on his way. That was unfortunately not the only time. The bylaw officer for our area was also called on us. Each time we tried our best as Christians to be patient and be a good example, but it's definitely something that made me question whether or not living out here in the country was the right decision.
After that, we started like just meeting more people. We started having more interactions with more of our neighbors. We were able to meet like the mayor of Madoc.
In terms of our church community, they've been fantastic in supporting us and helping us to get settled here. Now, Madoc is our home, and we've come to love it. The township of Madoc is a beautiful place, rich with history, talent, and warmth. We've built fantastic relationships with families in the area, bonded with a new church community, and even improved our proximal relationships.
The biggest part about moving here from the city was like how quiet it was.
Now we can say we're fully Madocian, and we wouldn't have it any other way.